Now, for the 12th time in 2024 alone, Nigeria's national electricity grid again suffered another collapse on Wednesday, throwing the entire country into darkness. The latest collapse occurred on the same day as the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, assured Nigerians that the country's power grid would achieve significant stability with the completion of Phase 1 of the Presidential Power Initiative, also known as the Siemens Project. Still on Wednesday, the Forum of Commissioners of Power and Energy in Nigeria expressed concern over the frequent grid collapses plaguing the national electricity supply chain. Energy lawyer Dr. Fodil Mohammed joins us now to look at this problem and an enduring solution, if one can be found, to end it. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, the 12th time, this is a record-breaking number of disappointments for Nigerians who've been thrown into darkness. What do you make of these back-to-back collapses?
It's not disappointing. It is expected.
Yeesh.
Maybe I should say this for the records. When the critical mass of the society takes delight in breaking its laws, lawlessness becomes the law. And that is what is happening in the power sector.
The tipping point.
We talk about corruption in Nigeria. Believe you me, the worst form of corruption is the violation of the Constitution. 7th schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria talks about oaths of allegiance. All the state actors, including the president and all the 36 state governors, took oath of allegiance to bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria and to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. If they fail in that, that is the worst form of corruption. And this is true of what is happening in the power sector. No amount of money we are throwing to it will bring us light. No amount of money until we fix what is called the infrastructure of the infrastructure. And that is the law governing electricity in Nigeria. If that is not done, no amount of centralized arrangement will solve the problem. So the grid collapse is not even scandalous. It is expected. When you refuse to do the right thing, then expect all this. So we should not hide our head under the sand and say that, it has now collapsed, when we are expecting it to collapse.
Well, there's been allegations, of some unscrupulous contractors in the power sector sabotaging it because they want to win more contracts. I'd like you to react to that.
All these things will come up ordinarily when the centralized issue is not sorted out. In Ekpe here in Lagos State, the same thing happened. I wouldn't know whether it is Ofulori around Ekpe where cables were vandalized. If each state takes control of its distribution network of the power value chain, there will be more security on those cables rather than centralized security taking care of that. Instead of having 2 distribution network in Lagos State, we can have up to 10, and each will provide security for those power infrastructure rather than leaving it to the hands of the federal government. And NEC itself is even an anathema. Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission rather than Federal Electricity Regulatory Commission, so that each state will have its own commission to manage its own power distribution side of the power value chain. Where you get power is just the consumers, and they live in the localities, in the states. Let us deal with that first, and now see how the others will pan out. It's important. Let us deal with the legal aspect that we are getting wrong.
So as the situation is right now, especially in this Christmas period where there would be a lot of energy being consumed, more people are around, families, who benefits from these grid collapses? Since they're so reoccurring, someone has to be benefiting from them. Who could those be?
It boils down to those who benefit from corruption. It's essentially an issue of corruption. And you can ask them what they benefit from that. But it is affecting us. They don't even know. These people don't know why you need electricity. They don't appreciate if you have electricity, many problems will be solved, including security issue. So they don't know. They only need that to earn a living. But if there is a security that is taken care of, there will be no problem as to vandalization. There will be of course, there will be that, but it will be so minimal. Not that it will be on this scale. No, it won't be on this scale. And if we allow the people to take charge, because electricity is the business of everybody. If the people, the localities take charge of the power infrastructure, there will be minimal as to vandalization of this electricity infrastructure.
So how would you assess the economic impact, of this frequent grid collapse, and then, of course, the urgency at which a solution must be found? How soon really can the issue of frequent grid collapse be resolved?
As soon as the distribution side of the power value chain is handed over to the states. And the essence of that is this: each state will invest. We should know that investment in electricity is capital intensive. Rather than one entity like the federal government is investing in the power sector, each state, 36 states, will invest simultaneously, and it will assist in addressing the problem. And we should bear in mind that electricity security, a situation where we won't hear up NEPA again, will be solved when we run in as a marathon rather than sprint. It won't come anytime soon when we don't deal with the problem that is fundamental here. Each state should take care of that rather than waiting. I'm aware that Oyo state government was talking about the little power IPP they did, that it took them 1 year to get permission from NEC. This is what we are talking about. They don't need that from NEC. We have Trunk A road, we have Trunk B road, we have electricity highway also in the power sector. We have 330 kV line, we have 132 kV line. Those are transmission lines. We also have 33 kV line, we have 11 kV line, we also have 415 kV line. Those are kV lines that belong to distribution network. So 2 belongs to the federal government, 3 belongs to the state. Let us hand over forthwith those 3 areas that belong to the state so that they can manage it adequately. Rather than one entity managing everything, they are just managing it to fail, not to succeed.
And before we let you go, this proverbially clawing through the dark in darkness, what is the way forward now?
The way forward is for the 36 state governors to rise up to the occasion and true to their allegiance, oath of allegiance of office, that they will preserve, defend, and protect the Constitution by implementing Item F, Part 2, second schedule to the 1999 Constitution, which gives the state the exclusive right to manage the distribution network, including the consumers in each state, rather than giving it to NEC. Then solution is around the corner.
And is it also possible, to explore renewable energy, as a way out of this crisis?
Thank you for saying that. Renewable energy is just a form of energy. Those are the areas that will feed the network we have. If we have the network handed over to each state, Each state will have opportunity to license generation companies to get whatever form of energy, even from the refuse that are being dumped over there. Electricity can be generated and it will be pushed to the distribution line. We don't need the transmission network to get light to the end consumers. We only need generation plants moved to the distribution lines. At this stage, we don't need transmission line to get power as soon as possible.
And just as we saw governors galvanize for local government autonomy and VAT and things of this sort, hopefully they're listening and they take this into account, because honestly, it affects everyone's lives.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.